it's because, like whatever you learn, it happens. You have an imprint in your, intellect as in your logic or your mind. There's an imprint on you. So, but the disadvantage is if your whole process itself is like in the intellect itself. So, like I said that day, it becomes you never know. Like your biases start
Yeah.
playing around, and like yeah. So, like that's the issue. You can't you can't let your biases play. Like what is truth? Like what do you mean by truth? Truth is something anything that's not influenced by your bias. So you just look at it as it is,
Yeah.
right? So what happens is in society. Let's say you have a conversation with someone. Okay,
Hmm.
let's say spirituality and all this was not widespread. So what happens is, so suddenly I come and talk to you about nirvana or mukti. So what happens is people start judging you instantly. So it's like, bro, this guy went to this Baba and all this. He
Yeah.
got his brain washed and and
Yeah.
yeah, things like that. So that is also a bias. So that itself is bias, even if it's true, and you might learn something out of it. So your bias comes into play and doesn't let you move forward. So
Yeah.
how do you do? Like, how do you grow? Like, how do you grow? So it's basically removing bias. So it's like, it depends on age as well. So, in our age, somewhere, in the youth period. So what will be your, what is your thought process? So it's like, you might be interested in movies, you might be interested in entertainment, all forms of entertainment, which is related to the senses. So anything that gives you pleasure in the senses, so it's more, really attractive to you, right?
Yeah.
So things like that. So what happens is, as you age, okay, then you realize that all this is bullshit. Now I have to, build my career, or nobody's gonna talk to me. I should become
Yeah.
someone or something. So it's like as you age, also your biases start breaking. So it's just that yoga gives you a fastest way. So it's like all of these biases have an imprint on your biological body. Okay.
Yeah.
So like biologically there are structures. Okay, like what do I say? It's like muscle memory. Okay. So what is muscle memory? Muscle memory is something like what do you say? You keep doing the same set of activities and you reinforce it with your mind. So let's say you're playing
Yeah.
football. So you say when you're dribbling, you say, this is how I'm supposed to dribble. And, in a way, it's getting reinforced in your mind, right? So
Hmm.
same way, whatever you're reinforcing it. So what you're doing physically, you're reinforcing it in the mind. So
Yeah.
same way, what happens is what you're reinforcing in the mind, same thing gets translated in many ways into your physical body.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
vice
things like
versa.
that.
Even the
So
body
when you
affects the
do
mind.
vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mind affects the body affects the mind, right? So same way. So what yoga does is, in a way, it just rips off the, biological structures in your body. So see, this is something you can, converge into. So this is just my understanding of what yoga does to you. So, in a way, you're ripping all this biases apart, and as time progresses, so you aren't making more structures. No, like every day, whatever you do, whatever activity you do, so you get attached. So there are biases. So let's say you listen to me right now. So tomorrow
Yeah.
your views will be biased towards what I am telling. Okay. So
Yeah.
your mind is gonna be structured by what I'm telling, right? So what happens is when you do yoga, you're more passive. You listen. Okay. You listen to what I'm telling, but you use your mind to
Interpret the things.
tell. Yeah. So you're not confused by what I'm. So what happens is if you listen to me too much also, so your views might be biased. Okay,
Yeah.
you'll be like only this is right. Okay,
Hmm.
you stop using your mind, right? So that's not supposed to happen. You shouldn't do it. So like it's the same case with religion. So what happens with religion is basically someone says this is right and this is the only thing that's right. You don't use your mind. You
Yeah.
just start to believe. Right.
Yeah.
Yoga, what it does to you is basically whatever structures you develop, it just rips it apart. So whether
Yeah.
irrespective of what it is, good or bad, it just rips it apart. Helps you use your own consciousness and your own mind to like tell which is right, which is wrong. So that's why you got to do yoga and not like if you do too much philosophy, it just you just become extremely biased towards
Yeah,
what you're
it's just
doing.
like an
So
armchair
yeah.
philosophy. We would just
Mm.
think of some things and we would fall into more biases. So basically, what I observed with yoga is that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it makes you more flexible physically. So even the flexibility in physical part actually comes onto the mind. Whatever the patterns that we are breaking, even on the body
Yeah,
level,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Agreed.
we get more relaxed and we don't have any pain in the body. When we don't have any pain in the body, like we go beyond that because we feel relaxed in itself. Like when I even do meditation, right? Uh,
Mm.
like even before the mind, or after the body gets relaxed, I am more able to observe my mind more clearly. So I think
Agreed,
you
agreed.
you
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
must have observed that. So I think basically
Mm.
yoga does a lot about that because it breaks patterns in a way that it makes you more relaxed and it helps you observe your mind more clearly. So I just sort of think this way. So right now you spoke about spirituality, right? So what is your
Mm.
meaning of spirituality? How do you define it?
See, spirituality, as in it's something like a path of seeking. Like it's same as philosophy. So philosophy is also, in a way, it's like seeking truth, right? You just want
Yeah,
you want to know, right? So uh, the act of knowing what is like, in my understanding, spirituality is something like you move towards truth. You want to become the truth. So in a way, so what we are looking at, we try to see things like in divisions. Okay, your mind, your
yeah,
reason divides things, right? So as in, see, we say that I'm here and you're there.
mm.
So it's like
Subject and
there is,
object
see, as
division.
Sadhguru, see. Sadhguru says this beautiful thing. Okay, it's like I'm the body here. I'm a body.
Mm.
My mind is mine. My body is mine. Your your mind is yours. Your body is yours. But the thing is, as life as in the thing that I am, right? It's same. It's only one thing. Truth can only be one, right? So same way, like in the sense, the body and mind are separate, but the
Yeah,
essence of who you are, it's the same. Like they say, aham brahmasmi. People interpret it in multiple different ways. Like everybody says the same thing. They say, even in Islam they say that uh, like what do they say? Allah is the only true God,
uh,
right? They say Allah is the only true God. They are
yeah,
in a way telling that there can only be one truth. Okay, they just
mm.
named it Allah. Like you can't
Yeah,
confine the truth in one word. It's everything. Like literally everything is the same thing. But you, like, the mistake they have done is they've contained it in one word. So it is true that Allah is the only God, but
yeah,
you can rename him. Like you can do anything, like, because truth cannot be, you can't say that truth is one word. It's impossible to say it. So same
yeah.
way, like every religion talks about it, so every philosophy will converge towards it. Even yoga in another way, and spirituality in another way. It's like systematic methods to experience it.
Mm.
Okay, so when you're reading a religious book, okay, you're interpreting it in, logically, you're reading it. It's more like you're talking
And we are
words.
interpreting
Okay,
it with our past actually, and we don't
yeah,
have the data to even think about that.
no, not really. Like it's like when you're reading a book, okay, it's like it's
Mm.
just words.
Mm.
So words are not the like. How can words be the truth? Like
Yeah.
it's not the truth. It's just words. So
Mm.
irrespective of which religion it is, Islam, Christianity, or Hinduism, whatever scriptures you read, it's just words. It's not the truth. So yoga gives you methods. Okay, it's all about methods. It's not some teaching. It's not some philosophy you're doing. It's about methods, set of things you do to experience it. Okay, it's
Mm.
like you're living, you're trying to feel the truth. It's not like I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to think truth. It's not thinking. It's
Mm.
about feeling what's true.
Direct
So like you
experience.
take steps. So it's like you say, when you're doing meditation, you feel peaceful and all that. So in a way, you exponentially increase whatever is there. So that's what truth becomes. Okay. So, like to the viewers, okay, like before we continue, like I like to tell to the viewers, it's like all of what I'm telling is my understanding and what I feel is
Yeah,
you know okay. So
your experience.
like you might my experience. So you might disagree with me, you might not relate to me, but this is what I feel. So if you want to take it, you can take it. But the thing is, like all of you, you shouldn't believe me or disbelieve me. Okay, so it's more like you have to take the path and look, search for
Consider
yourself.
the part. Be open-minded.
Be
We have to be
open-minded. You
open.
search for it yourself. It's not like you believe me or disbelieve me. You don't have to know anything. You just
Hmm.
see it for yourself. Try yoga. See it for yourself is what I'll tell you.
Hmm.
So just my opinion. You can go ahead. Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you know.
While talking about this, right?
Hmm,
You spoke about like assigning languages to objects. Like I remembered a concept when you're talking about this. There's a concept called 9 stages of ego levels, and in that book, I mean, it's actually a document. They wrote that how does a child, from when he or she is born, gets to a level where they are thinking about other people and also thinking about themselves and thinking about the world as a whole. Because when we are born into this world, right, we don't have anything in our mind, like we don't have any language or any sort of patterns or concepts to define the world. But as we
yeah.
grow, we get that patterns, we get that information from our parents, from our friends, and we sort of create our own reality, right? Uh, so while talking about that, because after like 15 or 16 years, our total reality is actually what we say gets solidified. We define each things clearly.
Hmm,
Like for example, there's a table behind me. We call it table, but instead of assigning that word to it, we can assign number of words to it. But that object doesn't actually means nothing because we are just assigning a word to it. So
hmm.
language itself, like it confines the reality into a specific space. So when we see
Yes.
the
Yes.
world
Yeah.
without language, we can actually see the world for what it is actually. So there's a
Hmm, hmm,
terminology for
hmm,
this.
hmm.
As I said before, it is called as construct aware stage, especially in ego levels. So what do you think about this? What do you
Hmm.
think about language and how it, what we say, how it manipulates our reality?
See, like I said that time. Now it's just a bias.
Yeah,
It's just bias. Like in a way, you're creating biases, like multiple layers of biases around you. So, like language is like it's still a bias that you reinforced for a very long time.
yeah,
So when I say table, so you can't do anything but think about like what a table is. So it's a bias that you created. Like in a way, like even when you say table, it's just a sound. Okay,
yeah,
you agree with me, right? It's just a sound. So
yeah.
you associated the sound with an object. So that's what you created it in your mind. So it's still like if
Hmm.
you ask me, so it's just a bias. So bias that we created over a very long time, and the society reinforced it, and so every time we utter it, so you think about that. So again, so if you're into spirituality, like at the like people like sages and all like on the highest levels, so they basically become so unbiased, or they just look at the world as it is, that language itself doesn't matter to them. So things
Hmm.
like that can be done. So you have to do yoga for a very long time, like to
Like
be in
I
such state.
think, like I have a doubt here. Like, how is it even possible to look at the world without language? Because without language, we can't see the reality itself, right? Because even when we are seeing this world, it gets totally filtered out from our eyes, nose, and whatever. Our senses totally filter it out. So, how do we actually see the world without language? We can try it for a brief period of time, but uh, why is our brain so biased? And how do we do it? Like, what do you
So
mean by
it's like
yoga? I have these many questions.
so it's not that you're it needs it, like it's like a survival. It's like when you want to survive in this world, it, the brain has to create patterns.
Yeah.
So unless it creates patterns, so it's not able to like it has to survive, right? This body has to survive.
Mm.
So unless the mind's objective is just to make the body survive.
Yeah.
So, like as time passes, so like you create patterns. So, like when you're a kid, like you said, so you don't know anything about the world. So as time
Yeah.
progresses, you're just creating patterns. So you're relating to it. So I do this. So this is what happens. It's like, like action and consequence.
Yeah.
So you just keep matching it all around. So let's say, as you age, you keep aging. So like things just fall into place. You just say that this is what happens. So like, it like every single thing. So if I eat this, my stomach is going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
Or
It
if I
gets
talk,
obvious.
politely, yeah, it gets obvious. It's just patterns that your mind creates. It's not just with language. Like it's like with everything that you do. If you want to survive in this world, so you have to create patterns. You have to keep noticing it. So it's like when you do yoga. So what happens is it's not about destroying it. Okay, it's not about destroying biases. You don't like informations are useful. Like patterns are really useful to survive and play in the world, and it's important as well. So like it's not about destroying it. It's like you're not bind to it. So let's say
Okay.
it's like you're free to do what you want. Okay, I have this information.
Hmm.
Let's say how do I say this? It's like in this situation. Okay, how do I say? Okay, this is
Okay. It's just like getting aware of that patterns instead of just going into
no
it
no.
and
It,
being washed away by it. Do you mean that?
Okay, wait. Let me just give you an example. Okay, it's
Okay.
like
Okay.
mm, like how do I say it? So every time you
Uh,
see a dog,
hmm.
okay. So every time you see a dog, suppose you got scared. Okay.
Hmm.
So every time I saw a dog, I felt threatened. Okay.
Hmm.
So suddenly you're aware of the fact that you're threatened. So like you feel threatened, huh? So you just choose to not feel threatened. So you at one point when you get fed up of it,
Hmm.
you just choose. So it's fine. Like I have a choice. Let me just do like let it go. So or else like if you look at it from the age perspective, so when you're a kid from 2 to 10 years of age, right?
Hmm.
So it's like you're all about food. Like you see a chocolate, in a shop that you go, you feel, you feel so much craving. Like I just want it. Like if you look at an ice cream or
Yeah.
a cake, you just feel like you want it. So as time progresses, what you do is, the fact that that the ice cream will give you good taste, but you just, you're like it's okay. Like I can live without it.
You can
Information
restrict
is
that
bad.
desire.
Yeah, you're like, I'm still free of it. It's not like you're destroying, the fact that ice cream itself doesn't exist in your mind. It's impossible to do it. So whatever
Hmm.
patterns you create, it's impossible to destroy it. It's just that you can be free of it and act even without, yeah, like you're not, you're not a slave to the pattern. You're using the pattern, but you're not slave to the pattern. That's what is, yoga is all about, breaking such things. And you're becoming free of it. You're like a passive, observer.
Observer.
So it's
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you tell about yoga, right? I have this question. Like previously, I used to do hatha yoga, but I think you're speaking about different types of yoga right here. So can you explain
Mm.
about that? Can you elaborate that?
There is, hatha yoga is like especially very physical. Okay, it's all bound to the physical body.
Yeah.
So you have yoga for the mind. You have, there are multiple layers of the body. So like your viewers, if you're not like, it might become too deep into spirituality. So like there are multiple layers of the yogic, structure of the body is totally different from what we see in science. So like multiple layers of the body. So each of it you have a yoga for it. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's like let me just brief five of it. Okay. It's like first is the physical body, next second is the mental, third is the energy body, fourth is the knowledge or the Vijnanamaya kosha, fifth is the bliss body or Anandamaya kosha, which is the ultimate layer of who you are. It's the truth. Okay. So it's like for each of this, you have yoga. So
Different
one may
types of
be for
yoga.
the physical body. For the physical body, like you can't just say physical body. You can say karma yoga or hatha yoga, one of them. And for the mental body, it's raja yoga.
Hmm.
For the energy body, it's kriya yoga. Kriya Yoga, and for Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the like knowledge body. So that for that you do Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is more about knowledge layer of things. So its philosophy also comes in that layer. So like, but the sad part of philosophy is it's split between the mental body and the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So it's just that if you look at it properly intellectually, it just becomes part of the mental body. You don't inculcate it. The see, like,
We
how do I
don't see it as
prove
a different
that?
thing.
No, it's not like that. So like how do you know the difference whether it's going to the mental body or the knowledge body? So it's like, we read all these motivational books, right?
Yeah.
You see, we read all these sorts of motivational books, but most of the books we read, we are not able to inculcate in our lifestyle.
Exactly.
We just read all of it, all
We just
things.
read them and
It's just
forget that
becoming,
information.
yeah, it's just becoming information, but it's not able to, become part of you. You're not becoming it, right? So,
Yeah.
like, if you become it, so let's say you read something and you become what you read. So that means it's going to your knowledge body.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's just
knowledge
like
as in
watching
not just
someone.
mind.
It's just like watching
It's not
someone
just.
doing swimming and actually learning about swimming.
Hmm,
So is that analogy useful?
uh, yeah. Analogy, that's a very good thing. So when you do, swimming, so it just inculcates and becomes part of you, right? So let's say even through age, like say, when you're going to a work, they say work experience, right? Okay, you
Yeah.
can read, about all the managerial things, in a textbook, but you're not able to inculcate in yourself because it's going to your mental body, not your knowledge
Yeah.
body. Knowledge body is all about yourself, like existentially you become that. So when you're able to take it into your knowledge body, you become that thing. So things like that,
Yeah.
differences are there. So jnanamaya kosh jnana yoga, it's not about the mental. So that's what's wrong with philosophy. So whatever philosophy you're doing, you're not able to inculcate in your life. Okay, it's just becoming information. So in a way, like
Yeah.
when you read a book, okay, when you read a book, so if you're capable of going beyond the author, so let's say the author gives you a set of information saying he did his effort and he gave a certain interpolations. You do this, you get this. But if you're able to inculcate it as a part of your life and you're able to relate to things, like you're able to find
Relate
similarities
that
in
it to our
incidents
life.
that
Yeah.
just no, not like that. See, like author talks about business, okay? Like let's say he talks about business and gives, a philosophical context about that, okay? So certain similarities are also possible in your social life, okay? So
Yeah.
if you take it as an information, so you'll just be able to relate to it in the business context, but you can't, extrapolate it and probably implement it in your social life or things like that. So there are so many things like that. So yoga is about your existence itself. So you work towards your existence and try to build on whatever is there. Okay, so that's what yoga is. It's not some exercise or something. So it's just like it just
Yeah.
feels
It's a
bad
very
to
big
start the people
misconception.
to.
So when we see the
Yeah, yeah,
Western world, right, they only talk of yoga about only the physical part of it. When we
yeah,
type
yeah,
yoga
yeah,
also in YouTube, we can only see those exercises and stuff. And no one
yeah.
ever spoke about this karma yoga, and they didn't even tell about the other parts of it. And I read about this in one book. Uh, it said that hatha yoga is just like 10% of that part of yoga that we are actually doing in our
Yeah,
everyday.
yeah, exactly.
And also, there is a point that we don't we don't do yoga. It happens automatically in our life every single day. Like we are taking action, we are thinking about things, we are also questioning things, we are learning about different ways of doing things. So I think even this falls under yoga. Am I correct?
Like in a way, if you're not getting entangled, as in, like I said, your biases shouldn't rule you. You shouldn't
Yeah.
become, your compulsions. So, like, if you're free of your compulsions, like even the very step you take, Sadhguru says this, it's like, That's why Sadhana Pada itself is there. So there's a program called Sadhana Pada wherein you stay in the Isha Yoga Center for 7 months. So like after Sadhana Pada, like what they say, Sadhana Pada itself is like, the very step you take becomes spiritual. Like every single step you take, the way you look, the way you breathe, that itself becomes,
Oh.
the act of yoga and spirituality. So things like that you can inculcate it. So for that you have to, totally let go of your compulsion, your, biases towards the world. Your biases, it goes deep. It's not just on
Yeah.
the layer that you're seeing. So the very way you're talking, the very way your thoughts are processed, it's so deep. So you can't to eliminate that. To be in such a state, you have to go through intense, amount of yoga, and you have to do it for a very long time. So like if you don't do it, okay, if you, like personally, if you ask me, if people are not doing yoga, so what happens is, you look at a child, okay, like you look at how joyful the person is. So as you age, right, what happens is you look at people who are in their 40s, 50s, so they become so rigid. You look at your grandparents, they're not able to change. So whatever opinion they have about the world, it just
Became
becomes
solidified.
solidified. So
Yeah.
so your biases become you. You become your biases. So you're not able to
Yeah.
think. There's nothing
Out of the
new
box.
that comes out of you. So it's not just out of the box. The very way, like if people don't treat you like, the like biases go so deep that you can notice it with your, elders. They say that you have to you respect your elders and all that, right? So in a way, it is also a bias. It's like they've become so rigid that I'm not telling don't respect your elders or something. It's essential
It
to
is also
respect
a
your
bias
elders
actually,
because
because yeah.
no. See, let me complete. It's like they
Hmm.
have experience. You have to respect it. But the thing is, most elders they expect respect because their mind is so conditioned that unless they hear something good about themselves, they are not able to live at ease. There's no peace with life. So, like, if I talk rudely to you because you're doing something wrong, like just because you're an elder, you scold me because you have to give me respect, man. So, irrespective of what I do, you have to give me respect. So, like, they're not able to live with the fact that a younger person is, talking something bad to me or giving me advice. So things like that, they become so rigid unless they get some, soft, feeling kind of a thing in the mind layer. So they're not able to, do it. So as you progress with age, so you become too rigid. You have to do yoga. You have to do yoga, or else you're bound to, lose. You'll become rigid. Like as you age, your flexibility goes off. Like it becomes your life becomes too rigid. It'll become monotonous. You don't know what is life. There'll be no happiness. Every day you're sad. Something small happens, plate falls, you just scream in your house. Things like that. So many things are there. So so it's my request to all the viewers, whoever is going to watch this. So please do yoga. It's a necessity, not some kind of elite thing that you
Exercises.
do when you become old. So there is also there is also this misconception that when do you do spirituality and all that. So they look at it like after 60 you do spirituality. No, like right now, like it's now. That's it. Like you're 20. No, you do that. This is the best time to you do yoga. So you do 60. It's like your all mind and all is just gone. So that time you do yoga because it's just
There will
ridiculous
be
for me.
nothing
So
left
just
at that
you do
time.
yoga. There'll be nothing left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're about to die tomorrow. You're doing yoga today because you want nirvana or something. It's just rubbish. Like if you
Uh,
ask me, it's just rubbish. Yeah.
so there's this misconception, right? Like spirituality, people think that we have to start it at some age like 60 or 70. We'll go to mountains, hills, and stay there. So yeah, so even so spirituality is not only about like leaving every worldly affair and just going to hill and living there. It is mainly about finding out the truth, and you can do it at any age. Like you can do it at age 10, you can do it at age 20. It doesn't matter. You can also start it at 50. But spirituality is all about finding the truth. There are many definitions of it given by many other people, but it all falls down to just finding the truth. And it doesn't matter how you find the truth. Uh, and techniques doesn't matter much. And they also say that map is not the territory. It just happens that when you keep on, what we say, chopping the forest, you will find something in that way. So just
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So that's my analogy. So I just want to go much more deep into spirituality. Like, how do we inculcate in our life? Like, what are the techniques and what are the types of ways that you can use to find the truth?
Like, I wouldn't want to go about this because, like if you're going to spirituality, the first thing is you have to learn it from a proper guru. So
Yeah.
you don't just try it. You don't become a book thing. You become like a philosophy. You try doing multiple things. It breaks like you might actually it's like you're intensifying things, right? So if it's intensified in a good way, it becomes a boon. So whatever bad stuff, it's possible that that also gets intensified. So what I'd say is, find a guru who'll teach you yoga or something. So like I
Like, how do
wouldn't
we
say,
find a
like I
guru?
wouldn't.
Like, many people, we are just telling to everyone, right? So how do we find a guru who
No,
can
find
teach the
find
stuff? How
find
do
a
we find
guru
the
is
mentor?
more like it, like essentially the mentor should be enlightened, or else like I wouldn't advise going there. So like for me, like my guru is Sadguru. Sadguru is my guru, and I wish to follow whatever he says for rest of my life. So maybe beyond that as well. So like yeah, so whatever it is, so I follow what he's telling. So whatever I am, so I am a product of what Sadhguru tells and his teachings of yoga and all that. So I just did one program, and I just did inner engineering. So that's the
Oh,
only
can you
program I've
explain
done.
about that?
And no, I can't. So you like
Okay.
you have to go experience it for
Okay,
yourself.
okay.
It's
Like,
not
not like telling every detail of it. Just tell what happened there. Like, what are the stuff you did?
they it's more like they teach you Shambhavi Mahamudra. So you can find what
Okay.
Shambhavi Mahamudra is in this one. So they give you a practice to do. They teach you, they initiate you into the process, and they give you good food. If you're you get it if you're in a major city or something, they do it. Okay, before lockdown it used to happen very frequently. So after lockdown, I think they're starting something online as well. So you can get initiated online. So they teach you Shambhavi online itself. So like I suggest people enroll for inner engineering online. It's a beautiful experience. So more than inner engineering online, it's about the practice that you do, right? You have to do the practice. So like I suggest it's my sincere request get initiated into Shambhavi Mahamudra. Find a guru who will teach you hatha yoga, because you have to build your system so that truth is basically something like you're fitting the universe into yourself. Okay, something, the analogy is very similar to it. So you have to build yourself in a way that you're able to contain it, right? So you have to keep doing physical activity. You're active physically, and do something that doesn't give you rigidity. Like as in, if when you go to a gym, it provides rigidity. So when rigidity in the body happens, rigidity in the mind also happens. So I wouldn't suggest as physical activity, do something that stretches. So maybe go run somewhere, things like that. So build your system, be active physically. Then after that, get yourself initiated by a proper guru. So you can find, essentially find someone who knows what they're doing. So yeah, so Sadhguru also talks about how do we find a guru. So you can find all these contents on his
Okay.
YouTube channel. So like it's like the go-to thing for spirituality. There's nowhere else. There's no best place than Sadhguru's channel. Yeah. So this is my take on what you have to do if you want to get go into spirituality. Eat good food, like raw food that is not dead. Eat living things, right? Eat
Like
vegetables.
fruits,
It should be alive.
vegetables.
So
Yeah.
the food should be alive. So don't overcook your food, because it's like when it's more like your body is alive, right? So it needs things that are alive to make it more enriching. So what
Yeah.
happens is, if you overcook it or eat junk food, so what happens is the things that are junk, it's more dead. So when you consume it, you have to make it living again. So you make it living and then, inculcate in your body. It's like, the body is spending energy to
More
do it.
energy,
You're
more
not, in a
energy.
way. So when you eat, okay, so when you eat, most people feel lethargy, like you feel like sleeping.
Mm,
So that shouldn't be the case with food, right? So the things you eat, right after you eat, it should, it should make you active, not lethargic. So things
mm,
like that are heavy non-vegetarian food, garlic, onion. So things like that. Sadhguru's also talked about, these things on his, YouTube channel, the way, what sort of food you're supposed to eat and things like that. There are so many things into this. So it's like your whole lifestyle itself revolves around spirituality and things like that. So
mm,
do it. So it's a beautiful experience. You become really peaceful. Every day is just a very happy and blissful day.
mm. So I
Yeah,
like this ideology because whenever people talk about
yeah,
philosophy and psychology, right, they only talk about the mind level, but anybody don't talk about the body level and the techniques we use to fix it. And I like Sadhguru in this
mm,
way that he tells how to repair your body in a way. Repair in the sense, I'm not saying something is broken in your body, but in a way that you can
mm,
enhance it better so that you feel peaceful and are able to observe your mind more better. So I think of this in this way.
mm.
So yeah, can you tell more about the experience in Isha Yoga?
I mean, you just have to visit it. Like you just be there. It's like
Hmm.
there's no better place that I've ever visited than Isha Yoga Center. So like the intensity of the place is just too good. Like Dhyanlinga and things like that, the intensity is too much. So you have to
Hmm.
be there. You have to, be in the place, feel it, and then like whatever videos they put about Dhyanlinga, right? Like if you ask me, all of it is true. Like every
Hmm.
single thing they talk about Janalinga, every single thing is true. So go there.
Ah,
So it's not about me talking about it. It just becomes an intellectual process again.
hmm.
So like you have to be there. You have to experience it. It's more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I went sometime there. I meditated for about like 30 minutes. And I would
Mm.
say the experience is intense because there will be like other 100 to 200 people meditating with you. And the experience is really intense. Because when I
Yeah. Yeah.
used to meditate in the home, right, just the 20 minutes, it doesn't feel that what we say, it doesn't feel that powerful. When I did
Yeah.
meditation there, like for 30 minutes, I just felt that I slept for 8 hours and got up.
Yeah.
So that experience is very intense actually. And I only went to Dhyan Lega in Isha Yoga and I bought some
Ah,
products there. I forgot what are there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, yeah. So many things they do. Like if you ask me, things are gonna get. The world is gonna become more spiritual eventually. So
Mm.
the modern society, things we do even for survival itself, you need a spiritual process, or else
Mm.
the world forward. Like if you see all these mental health problems that people are having, so like
It is
it
coming more
becomes
with the
really
philosophy.
essential. Like
Like
yeah, they're
people when
doing
they
it.
study
So
philosophy
like
more, it is yeah. Tell me. I interrupted you.
so it's like the world is going to move towards spirituality. There's no other way than no other way for the world to go further. So it is going to become more spiritual. Everybody will move towards this as unhappiness and material well-being increases. So unless you become conscious of your inner self, unless there is inner development, so like you can't survive. You understand
Mm.
me? So because
Yeah.
yeah, you can't survive. So Sadhguru also talks about this. So in many ways, even I can relate to what he's telling. So it's just that the faster you start, the better it is because Sadhguru is going to go away soon. So you never know when he's going to die. So the best part is right now. So do it. Is what I tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, like people are exhausting all the levels right now. Like people are going for objects like they want to buy a car, they want to buy a house or earn this much amount of money. People are exhausting all those
Mm,
levels because right now when we count when we see an average person, everyone is earning good, everyone is able to eat, everyone is able to have their good life, everyone is having friends. So everything is going good, but still they feel empty inside. And what I feel is spirituality is the go-to way to actually get over that. not even to get over that, it's like going to the next level to enhance your being in a different way. So
Yeah. It is, agree.
yeah.
So that's what it's about.
So it's been
Yeah,
about 1 hour, I
think
think, just talking.
it's been
No,
1 hour. Damn.
1 hour. No, I think the time is 9:30. I think we started at about 8:50. I think it's about 40 minutes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a good conversation. Thanks for having me.
No.
Yeah.
If you did,
Thank you.
I
So,
don't want to end it. I don't want to end it now only. So we spoke about spirituality, right? So how can we associate it with business? Like I saw some stories of yours where you associated it with business.
okay.
What do you
See,
think of
this
that?
one I have wait. So we'll do another video on this. Yeah,
Okay.
today let's end it
Yeah.
at the spirituality thing. So, like, I'll just do a concluding thing. Okay. So it's like,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, guys. So, like, thank you for having me, Sandeep. So
Yeah.
it was a
The pleasure
really
is mine. I have
good.
to say thank you to you. Like this is the first ever podcast
So
I'm
thank.
making. So even now I am nervous talking on the camera right now, and I don't even know how to articulate some of the things. I just want to speak so much, but this is my first podcast, and please excuse me if I am not able to express some of the things that I want to say. But you did a great job. You are just continuously explaining things in the most articulate way that can never be explained. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you for having me. So, like, it's my sincere request for all the viewers. So, take up spirituality. There's nothing better than being spiritual. So, namaskaram. So,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. So, thank you,
Thanks.